game, and if they want to do the same and ban Kindred as well, then Poppy becomes the first pick.
Yeah.
So with Fnatic banning Trundle one more time,
it's early pressure on the Poppy.
They are putting pressure on Poppy. They're telling Vitality you have to ban it. So I think maybe Vitality is saying, let's leave both Kindred and Graves open. Because if you first pick the Kindred, we take the Graves and you trade them. But it requires that Shook is actually practiced on both the picks.
I think he can play both.
I would assume he can. It is his style. But I also think Vitality might just ban 3 junglers straight up. But then again, then you give the Poppy.
Can't be worse than his Gragas, or the impact of his Gragas. I don't think necessarily he played it that poorly. The Varus ban now comes out for Fnatic. That's normal. It's just the Azir counter on blue side. We see Italy, which is the staple purple side. I think the last ban from Vitality should still be the Poppy, though. That's one thing. You can't let it do. Regardless of what happens, Poppy doesn't hit the table at all.
So this is what's happening now. This is what you just mentioned. By potentially leaving Graves open, you leave Graves and Kindred.
Yeah.
It means, no, they're not gonna leave Poppy open with it, because then they first pick Poppy.
They want Nautilus on the next rotation, so they want to force Fnatic to not choose Nautilus, and then
man, that was spot on. I'm actually surprised.
Yeah, and then they go for like Kindred later on. They get the Nautilus right here. Nautilus Sivir could be a really good early rotation here for Vitality, and suddenly Fnatic have to dip into the tank pool and find something else.
Yeah, definitely 100% Sivir pick coming, but this is again. Graves is such a strong pick for Spirit, spamming it in solo queue over and over and over. And with them leaving both the junglers, they basically said, okay, if you first pick the Kindred, we take the Graves and we're happy. We need to see if Shook wants to play Kindred. We would assume he wants to play it. AListar takeaway, KaSing is normally not an AListar player.
Yeah, so that means Vitality want Gamsu on the Nautilus, because he's almost guaranteed to play this champion. So they want to play like the Echo into it or something, have the answer ready, and play a kind of a blitzkrieg, kind of Zerg composition with the Sivir.
Or could we see a Rise coming
top?
in?
Lissandra top is technically...
Lissandra top is something that's kind of died out, and I definitely don't expect Cabochard to play it, but Rise top,
Nautilus?
Rise top has just come in as a good pick against these tanks, obviously.
We're wondering about Rise potentially coming in today.
I wonder if it is an option. It might just be an Echo pick coming in top again. For Cabochard.
There's always Rammus available too.
True.
Because right now you have the 80 jungler, you have the 80 bot, the Jhin, and then if we don't see the Azir come out, Rammus could be a good pick.
They locked it. Jhin once again. Rekkles is doubling down.
Yeah, again, you kind of have to. When Sivir gets taken, then Jhin in this matchup has become the tier 2 pick, and then Kalista is further down. Haven't seen her all day.
Kalista used to be very strong against Sivir lanes, but she's been nerfed enough that the advantage she gets in lane isn't worth it anymore, because when she exits the laning phase, without a support and without near her, she's forced to rush the Hurricane, and she's still mediocre wave clear. It just doesn't work well enough. Also, Fnatic, I think, works better with Jhin.
On the side of Vitality, still puzzling over what they go next. With that Varus ban, though.
Ooh, it's going to be Jace top?
The Jace
is an option. It's definitely an option. Again, against these tanks here, it's very hard for them to kill the Jace, to give a bit of a free farm lane. Probably will still be pushed in slightly early on by the Nautilus, but I want to see what we get top lane here. I feel like you can pick the top lane matchup, even though Nautilus technically can be flexed to support now that AListar is being picked away. Gragas top lane is an option as well, something we have seen both in LPL and LCK. He actually has a very strong laning phase against a lot of the tanks. So
and they take it.
Oh, wow.
That is going to be it. And Cabochard is also a very old school Gragas top player.
Innovating Locket style.
Yeah, hey, I mean, he tried it out a few times in the LCS. Decent success, but this is a pick which, again, LPL and LCK has used as a top lane, and it used Gragas as a flex.
Yeah.
You still get a lot of the good benefits from him, a strong frontline tank, able to body slam engage on the likes of Jhin.
I wonder if Fnatic was planning the blind Xerath here that they hovered earlier as just a potential poke comp, you know. Graves, Jhin, Xerath could have really good siege.
I think you can just go Lissandra here, honestly, and just play the 1-3-1 again with double TP.
Nice predict, man.
I mean,
that was pretty obvious.
Yeah, that was good though.
That was kind of...
I kind of forgot she existed. I don't know why I had to start talking about Xerath when I absolutely adore Lissandra as a...
You just let it go. That was it, man.
Yep. Just let it go. God damn it.
Right back to it.
All
right, so they round out with the Thresh as well, though.
I don't like the Thresh at all.
Yeah, tell me why.
I mean, like, who are you going to hook here? Like, the tank, the Elise with the Repel, the Sivir Spell Shield. I think Klaj is going to suffer the exact same fate KaSing had in the first 2 games. You're going to walk up, hit or miss hook, and just get blown up immediately.
Definitely seems like Fnatic are going back to strong lanes and like play really aggressive early on in the 2v2 lane, but lane swapping is very likely coming in from Vitality. In that case, also, again, the Nautilus has very strong early game. GP from Nukeduck. A lot of debate on Twitter after last game when was GP a good pick into Azir? Technically not. And
he made it work.
But he made it work. Obviously, did lose mid tower, but he went very early to side lane. And I think this is more for Vitality saying we want to have double TP again.
Yeah, and this is the first game in the series where we have double TP facing off against double TP. The one difference here is there's an extra global on the side of Vitality. So this should be a very fascinating game to see, with the early edge definitely going to Fnatic, I feel. But I'm not even that sure about it. They just have, both teams have a pretty disgusting mid-game spike here. A lot of points in the game where the mid-game base damages are still relevant, and so much CC.
I definitely give the early game to Fnatic if it's standard lanes. Early push
definitely.
Nautilus, 2v2 obviously with the Jhin, Thresh. There is a chance, a high chance, we probably see Vitality try and opt into a lane swap, but you can match it if you are Fnatic or try to. Very interested to see this Gragas top lane for Cabochard, because it is a fairly strong pick into tanks in the 1v1, but also just the ability to engage fights with Body Slam Flash and just stacking like full tank on this Gragas is a very, very strong
Sivir makes
line.
it easier though.
She does makes it easy. It's also about Nukeduck on this Gangplank, because he had a fantastic impact in the last one.
Very, very, very comfortable Vitality have been. And now with one game in the books, will they even the score here? If you think so, hashtag VIT win at LOL eSports. If you think Fnatic are going to close this one out, hashtag FNC win. Will this be the final game? We'll have to find out as we load up on a Summoner's Rift.
All right.
Here we are.
And here we are. No Azir, boys, after losing 3
can't
games.
lose.
Girls.
And again, true. I still don't even think it's just Azir itself. It's just how much focus the teams put on it with the bans.
It's gone. Let it go.
And these picks around, you know, now they're getting
Let it go.
no longer getting Azir. No longer have to worry about picking around
We're
it.
not holding back anymore.
So
Neither is Vitality.
Vitality actually, they're not going for the 50-50 lane swap where they just guess at the start. They're actually going for the good old school play where you invade, put division, and you kind of make it impossible for Fnatic to match. So there's a good chance that we have at least Vitality come out here with the edge in the top lane.
Yeah, and because Fnatic didn't sit on the tower on top side with the AD carry support, it's going to be very hard for them not to be spotted. One thing you can do...
Are they on a ward?
One thing you can do is actually walk by the ward here on bottom side as their dual lane of Fnatic. And once you get to...
No,
This
Fnatic can run bot.
blue buff. Yeah, but like what they could have done, like walk up, be spotted by the first ward, and then actually just turn in the jungle and walk straight to mid lane and down towards bottom lane. Won't be needed because they are staying on bot side.
Vitality based on ward, which generally means that Fnatic thinks that Vitality bot lane is going to go bot, but Vitality are taking double insurance here by sending their bot lane mid. Okay, nobody shows on these wards. Okay, we go top. So they take a slower approach to guarantee the lane swap 100%. I like this actually.
Yeah, I think it's a very good
really
move.
Smart.
Very, very good move. You might lose a few seconds on the push, but because you got
all worth it.
Yeah, exactly. No camp being done. Hjarnan would just run into lane, and KaSing is sitting mid again for an early gank. We've seen it 3 times or 2 times already.
Yeah, because he doesn't need his summoners at all. He can even flash here.
Yeah, oh, speaking of flashing, he does just that, and Febiven's going to have to follow.
okay.
Exhaust, but
It's still worth it because another Q, because he doesn't need the summoners at all in the next 4 or 5 minutes. It looks such a waste, but we're going to swap around.
I'm just going to check what the cooldown was on that Q for Nukeduck.
I mean, Nukeduck he's going to give Febiven such
you
a
have
hard
to,
time
you have
now
to
as low as
guess
he is.
whether KaSing knew the cooldown though.
That's true. That's true. Because right now, Nukeduck could actually just hit one more Q and walk away, but Exhaust slowed it down. Fair enough.
Well, he does hit one more Q and walk away.
Maybe it is again sending a message. I don't need this summoner.
It's like, you see this exhaust? I throw it at you. I don't need it.
All right, Vitality, Fnatic settle into the good old 3v0 swapperoo. And we'll see some fast pushing on the towers and non-aggression. Vitality pretty happy with the way things are turning out so far.
Yeah, and Fnatic actually pushed on second wave without their top laner. So they had a hard time keeping these creeps there because the Gamsu had to path all the way over. And Vitality at least had their top laner there earlier, so they were very prepared for this lane swap.
Yeah, and you can sometimes call in your jungler here to match up, but it doesn't really happen often on the first tier 1 because...
Second one it usually does.
Yeah, exactly. He's busy doing his camp. He wants the Rift Scuttler. He doesn't really want to give up too much. Fnatic will take down tower. Almost the same timing as Vitality on top side, so no massive advantage just yet from either team. Gamsu will get it down with one more hit.
things are all about even.
A bit later recall, obviously, again from Fnatic, but we are talking just 1 to 2 seconds at max.
And a slightly worse ward. I mean, we're literally nitpicking here, but that's what lane swaps have evolved into. The ward in the lane that's going to spot Hjarnan isn't as deep as Fnatic would like. So they have a later reaction from Gamsu, so that it essentially costs him like 3 CS.
And the very standard call buy as an AD carry.
Look, he shows up.
Double Dorans doesn't really exist anymore as AD carries, so you just go for the call instead. It is much better with the extra farm.
But look at the way this mid lane has evolved. Normally, Febiven would just AFK shove, but with the additional sustain advantage from Corruption Potion and the early force in level 1 with the summoners, he's now winning this lane that he's supposed to massively lose in terms of push.
And also their OP-ness of Grasp with the Undying, adding in a bit of extra damage and sustain for Nukeduck.
Yep.
Obviously doing well with the poly every single time.
But that's... he's going to do that anyways, right? That's the whole reason
I
that
just
he
wanted
makes
to add in how strong it is.
It is very strong. Febiven forced to teleport early, and it just gets him seamlessly through the early laning phase here with teleport advantage and 10 CS up. This is... honestly, that level 1 gank from KaSing, I really like the adaptation.
Nukeduck really sped up ahead because of this, and it's just such a comfortable choice for him. Vitality have been allowed to take these picks because the power picks took precedence for Fnatic, banning out that Corki yet again, you know, things like that. It's allowed Vitality to get these things that are comfortable.
And right now, Fnatic are on the top side. Usually they push this down, take Herald. We have to remember, there will be, once they hit, if they mirror the play on the tier 2 push, that's exactly when Nukeduck's going to hit level 6.
Now this is going to be a bit delayed by Vitality, so what happened is basically Cabochard got a bit of extra farm on top side because again they were slightly ahead on the first place and he stayed around, had to cancel recall and then back out, so he's slightly delayed. Normally you would have your jungler then actually come down instantly, knowing that top lane is going to be a bit late, jungler joins in and takes or wastes some time I guess technically for the jungler himself to hitting tower, but Shook had also recall at the same time. So they got slightly later to tower, but again, it should be very even in the timing because they need these minions to die around them, so there shouldn't be any big advantage just yet. What Fnatic likes to do with Rift Herald is a little bit different compared to other teams. They like to take it with the AD carry and then give it over to AD carry, and the reason they give it to AD carry is because he then gets a faster recall time.
And a quicker push.
Quicker push because he will buff the minions and of course the extra movement speed getting to the wave. So he will recall slightly later. You can see Rekkles here taking recall. Look at Sivir on your minimap already at the inhib tower. So she's ahead right now. But because you get the Rift Herald, you're now faster with movement speed. And once you get to the wave, you will buff it up and it will actually push in faster. So this speeds up the play, how fast you take the Rift Herald and how fast you can push in. Compared to if you gave it to your jungler and he went into his jungle and yada 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 and then he went bot lane.
And that faster farm should help to speed up Rekkles' growth in this one. Big problem that Fnatic had last game was unable to unlock the Jhin. Vitality were pretty keen on shutting it down, knowing what Rekkles can do on it.
I mean, this is the point of the game, though, where he's now level 6. He has access to Cannon Barrage. So let's see if these teams have factored that in. How big Fnatic's going to stack a wave, because that may actually tilt this mid-game of the lane swap, like 7 minutes in the game. Yeah.
It is a situation where Vitality is saying, guys, let's just give this farm over to Cabochard because Fnatic opted into pushing after they didn't bounce the wave. So Cabochard is going to catch this one. This is going to hurt for Gamsu. He's nowhere to farm.
This is something top laners have gotten in the habit of because they're so used to the lane swap playing out swap, 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 swap around. Cabochard getting this farm is massive.
I just want to highlight this ward being placed by Vitality on bottom side, though. You can see here behind Rekkles, there are 2 wards now. That's a TP location for Cabochard. If Jhin keeps pushes...
bubble. The ward is about to fade.
It's about to fade. What about the one in the bottom bush?
Oh.
Still there.
Mercy bubble. It's also about to fade.
It could have happened. The setup was there. You know, you actually opt in to take 2v2 on bottom side, and you are behind an experience.
Your beams are about to shatter. 1, 2, 3, and that ward's gonna be... Oh.
Yeah, it's also with Fnatic pushing on mid tower. That means Vitality had to go mid and defend instead of make that play on bottom side. But you could actually have opted into ganking their TP.
Oh,
getting caught.
He gets caught in income Spirit instantly, and now Gamsu around the side. There are hooks for days, but Shook does manage to get one juke off. Still, with Fnatic members just chasing like crazy, Spirit can't help but pick this one up. He just needs to reload his shotgun, work the flash, and that's first blood.
The hell is Shook doing right there? I mean, look at the minimap. You have to wonder. Your top laner is doing a free/slow push in the top lane. You got a massive wave hitting your bot lane tower that you want to annihilate with GPLT. Why is your jungler in the one area where Fnatic will have 4 people in the map? This is a massive positional mistake from Shook and a really good pick-off from Klaj.
It looked really good for Vitality before, with this insane advantage for Gragas on top. The potential play on bottom lane that never happened, and I just... sadly have to take
Gotta
back
stop living
everything
in
I
the
said.
past, man.
I would have loved that play. Anyway, it was
Same.
better to just get all the farm for Cabochard because he's obviously getting this far ahead. But yeah, Shook
Right here.
doesn't really have any business to do.
You're never supposed to walk
He's
forward here.
high, and he's still...
Flash to the right, anything. Like, these are like 3 mistakes. 1, he's there. 2, he walks up after the camp. 3, he flashes towards the enemies that are there. He's just playing as if it's a stand
Flash the hook, unlike
Flash the
walk
hook.
away.
Or flash to the right afterwards.
Sure.
Still, major mistake here.
Big
And now
flip
there's no contest on Gamsu because there's no map pressure, and he can catch a lot of this farm. Still be very far behind, but could have been put in a dumpster right there.
Yeah, Shook is unable now to really play aggressive without Flash, obviously, and being pushed back. Hjarnan gets to shove out the lane, and I want to see him. Oh, he has no ward. I want to see KaSing then place a fairly deep ward here in this lane. Maybe set up that play later because you know that Jhin is going to.
How's he gonna do that though?
Yes, he had his string. He just put the ward right there in the bush. It's only going to last for a very short time though, but you know that Jhin is going to push back out. So if you are ready for it, if you time the waves, you actually know he's going to overextend, and then you TP on him and kill him. But
Let's take a look at the gold,
Rekkles is
though.
taking his time though. Yeah, let's take a look at his time.
Everything is settled down a little bit, so we get a chance to break this one down. So Spirit has a big advantage over Shook because he picked up that kill, and he also had a pretty serious farm advantage, being able to roam around with Fnatic. But the rest of the team is actually not doing quite so hot, mostly because for Cabochard, he was able to catch that big one on the top side. You could see Rekkles has been kind of running left, right, and center to try to pick things up, and Nukeduck had been punishing Febiven since the level 2.
And the worst part for Fnatic was that when they pushed in that wave, it kind of felt like they said, we actually want to push this one in and try and get standard lanes because there's a Gangplank ulti. We don't want to take the mirror and then have GP ulting in. But even then, I think you can actually let him clear one wave and wait for next wave if you're very fired up to play with Rift Herald. In order to do that, you had to bounce the wave though, because then Vitality had to send the AD carry support on top side, and you would be able to mirror for tier 2. But instead, Cabochard gets all the farm.
But instead, we'll see how Fnatic react, and that's also something you have to do in this series. Sometimes you make mistakes, and you have to adapt on the fly, and Fnatic did that. They called out Shook when he made a mistake, and so far they have been the smarter split-second decision-making team. See if they can keep that up and take the match.
Hey, you said it yourself, Krepo. I mean, this is a team that shows up for matches, shows up for big games. They have so much more experience in doing it. And, I mean, all those games that
Let me explain.
everything.
The only reason,
All right, let's go back to
the
it.
only reason we brought that up, because it's been an argument that has been tilting Deficio the entire week in the office when our producers like, guys, Fnatic, they show up in playoffs, just like Bayern Munich.
Ah, you spoiled it.
The problem is he's saying the name Fnatic is showing up. I'm saying it's the players showing up.
Something happens when you put on that jersey to
And if you took these 5 players and put them on another team, they would still show up because it's the players.
Yeah.
All the coaches as well.
They've had
but, like,
experience together now. I mean, since they came together, this roster, the change with Klaj stepping in, and then all throughout IEM, those crazy, ridiculous matches they had, and then even though they stumbled into the playoffs, they've looked better in this series than we have seen from them since IEM.
Yep.
We've seen
Some horrible things.
some good, we've seen good adaptations. We've also seen Shook getting caught. Oh, is he maybe catching Spirit?
Oh, the flay backwards. Now Spirit's going to try to get the blowback, but he's got absolutely nowhere to go. Collapse. Scumbag KaSing steals
I
it.
love it. Look at how exhausted he was right there, stuck in a corner. Could have had an ignite, but KaSing with the brains, taking that exhaust.
And he takes a kill.
I like it.
1-1.
Rewarded for his bold and smart summoner choice.
And the second time he uses it.
Whoa.
See,
it's
wasn't a waste.
It's kind of like how you get very high wards per minute. You just start, when you sit in the fountain anyway, you just sit and spam wards in fountain. And then you walk back out anyway.
Inflating your stats.
And then it looks great.
Oh,
some
hold up.
spell usage.
Febiven's canceled here, and now Cabochard's on the chase. I won't be able to catch him, though.
Ran out of air very quickly. Moving down.
All right, so we're about 13 minutes into this game. Vitality's still hanging with a slim lead. The gold really hasn't made too much of a difference with the 2-2 in towers and the 1 dragon in Fnatic's back pocket. But you guys said earlier, we were talking about this mid-game power spike that has been still coming.
But look,
Both teams.
how Febiven got punished a little bit early. He has a good overall Rod of Ages, 13 minutes in, 1 stack right now. But look at Nukeduck already. He already has Triforce in a matchup that he should be dominating. He is up CS and probably has a lot of gold from his passive.
Yeah, worth noting that, if you're parlaying a lot, you're able to get even more out of that. So Nukeduck is going to be a force to be reckoned with, or already is a force to be reckoned with.
Some Korean advice coming from Pyro. Just
Yeah.
parley a lot and
And
get a lot of gold. That's
yeah.
true. That's
Hey man,
true.
When in
Gangplank
doubt.
is my freeload champ, by the way.
Parlay.
Still good. And,
Lost, of
Nukeduck-
course, a bit of
Nukeduck
gold
making me
there,
proud.
but still, it is strong.
Oh yeah.
You gave him some tips?
Yeah, I took him a bit. Hold on, Nukeduck, come here for a sec. Just parley a lot.
I mean, you're not wrong.
No, I'm great at that kind of advice.
Let's see if Nukeduck will stick to your advice later.
I think we
they
need a
should,
parlay cam right now.
Zoom in on every single one. So the Dragon's coming up in 18 seconds. Is this worth fighting for?
In most situations, no. You almost never see team fights around them early on. It all depends on who has to push at that time. If Lissandra is able to push in the Gangplank, it gives control to Fnatic to move in and take Dragon, and then it's too risky for Vitality to like try and kind of blind walk in towards the river and contest it. Fnatic has defensive pinks around it, but it's behind the Dragon, so it doesn't really deny anything other than a TP ward, obviously, for Vitality. With no teleport on Cabochard, though, Vitality will probably give up the Dragon. So again, we don't want to risk these 4v5 team fights.
All right.
And it's just not worth it
And
enough.
there's so much more vision up in this top side because the Rift Herald has been prioritized by both these teams. Fnatic, it's been kind of a fixation for them, but Vitality are the ones in the right position to take it. They've got Gangplank down on the bottom and 4 members here to gang up on it.
And there's still a lot of teams around the world who don't really understand what the Rift Herald does. And like
It's got a big eyeball.
And when to take it. In this case here for Vitality, it's almost the perfect time to take it because you had pushed in top and mid. You have no TP in the top laner, so you actually want to play around him. You don't want to play around bottom side now because Cabochard can't join. This was just the perfect time to go in, grab the Rift Herald, obviously saying we're not looking to contest Dragon at the moment. Give it over to, I believe it actually was Cabochard who took it. And then just give me a little bit more lane pressure for him. But he's not going to be able to kill the Nautilus. It's all about pushing now. Push, push, push.
Yeah, Fnatic looking to control or shift the control over to the right side of the map. Klaj, path out of base right, pink ward, deep ward. And now the blue contest, still looking to at least shut down Nukeduck in his tracks or leave some deep vision behind him, so when he does push, they have those flank opportunities. Obviously, you always want to engage in one of the teleport guys.
And this is what we talked about, we don't see fights around Dragon. Fnatic have control on bottom side because they have Lissandra and a teleport on top side available, so they will automatically win the bottom side. Therefore, they will also get the Dragon handed to them. I miss the old days of just picking mid-game team fight comps.
Love it.
And you would just rush into Dragon every time, and you just have these Rumble ultis flying around.
And the Dragon was worth 1,000 gold, so it would always be a 2,000 gold swing, because if the other team
yeah, just
got it,
snowball out of control completely after one lost fight.
But here's how you got to get your gold swing now with the Rift Herald buff. They start on this tower, but look at this. They're instantly entering back, and Shook's caught in a line. Klaj with the box down now. Spirit instantly exhausted. Gamsu is bopped and pinballed all the way back into the team. And Hjarnan, no, it's Shook that takes him down, but a curtain call answering. Now KaSing going low, everyone body blocking. It's Shook that lines up for this one, but they're not done yet. Febiven goes in, instantly caught on the cocoon. Now they turn their attention for Cabochard. Do they have enough in the tank to take him out? Spirit, however, is on the wrong side of this fight. All of a sudden, it's KaSing that gets blown up. And Febi with the kill credit for that. It's a 1-for-1, but he's caught in between the rest of them. And Hjarnan goes big. And now Vitality turns the fight again, melting through Rekkles' health bar.
there's a lot to talk about this fight. Deficio, I saw you make some very weird stares at the screen. What happened at the start?
Oh, I was just very happy to see the reaction from KaSing when Gamsu tried to flash out. He actually instant ends up pulverizing him, knocking him back to his team and trying to force him out of the fight, and then the re-engages happen.
Yeah, just a lot of good plays here. I think Fnatic made the one crucial mistake of overreaching. Look at how much CC abilities they use onto Shook. So they have 1 hook, 2 hook, missed Jhin snare, and guess what? He has repel, so he resets. And then you have the beautiful reaction here from Vitality. They used Cannon Barrage to separate the fight, and all these CCs are on cooldown. Look where Gangplank is right now, and the sidestep that Cabochard is going to do is going to completely turn this fight.
Yeah, and also just this cocoon from Shook stopping Febiven at first, getting a bit of damage. Sidesteps, doesn't get snared. Now they can re-engage. Nukeduck TPs in, and yes, there's 1 kill on KaSing, but that support going down has already kind of done his job. Nukeduck surprises them with the flank, re-engaged further on onto Rekkles as well. Body slams him just out of their lantern as well.
Yep, and Fnatic, I think they thought they were fighting a 5v5 and winning. And when the Gangplank ulti was down, they forgot that Nukeduck hadn't even entered the fight. So Vitality turned around that fight, 4v5, got a kill, could have opted out. Let's not forget, they could have easily just ended that fight. But then that sidestep on the Jhin W from Cabochard was just so smooth. Turned around the fight, bought enough time for Nukeduck to come in the flank and completely surprise.
It's not easy to sidestep skill shots with a hitbox like Gragas, that's for sure. Vitality to the victor, go the spoils, and they get themselves a tower and some kills. Spirit now sidestepping some cocoons himself.
Also, the difference of Shook on Elise versus Gragas.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that cocoon was pixel perfect on Febiven's Ice Claw coming in there.
I just think it's even more about Shook not being the main engage, because we talked about this early in the series. Shook is extremely good at playing the early game, playing skirmish, but he's never been much of a team fighter. So when you put him on a Gragas and say, you're now our main engage because you want to time your body slam flash without TP coming in from our top laner, that's how we start fights. They tend to struggle. The same we can say honestly for Fnatic from time to time with Spirit on Gragas. He's much better playing carry junglers.
But this is why we're seeing Vitality take the comfort levels. Febiven looking for Cabochard, gets the Ring of Frost out, and it's just a 1v1. Or is it because Spirit has come right on in? Explosive cast, can Cabo get away from this one? He pops back forward and looks to try and take Febiven down with him, but not yet. No, it's Febi that takes him out.
I think the cannon minion just blocked the body slam here for Cabochard, so he wasn't able to just get a bit of extra damage in onto Febiven. Meanwhile, there wasn't actually much to do on the map for Vitality. They couldn't really just rush down the mid
There was no Baron yet.
No Baron was alive. Also would have been a 20-minute Baron, would have been extremely early.
They could have baited. The whole premise of this play is that it only works right now for Fnatic, because you saw how much time it took to take down Cabochard, how tanky he was. If Fnatic do that again later on, Vitality will just sweep the vision around Baron and bait. They don't even have to start it. Fnatic will be forced to face check.
Yeah. But let's go back to, before that all happened, I was talking about the relative comfort level. When you put Shook on a champion like Elise, that he can get his team a little bit ahead early, we know the Vitality, when they get a little bit of a lead, they can start rolling it forward. It's obviously been a fairly even game, but importantly, they've not let Fnatic get a foothold.
And we know when Vitality's playing 1-3-1 with double teleport, they are a much better team than when they try to execute these 3-1-1 comps, you know, again, the AD carries in side lanes, and Azir just sitting and farming mid.
And this is something, they didn't get any tower or Baron, but what they traded for that play on Cabochard was vision. They put down 4 really solid pink wards. The inverse kind of has happened now, though, of the ward outside of the pit. There's a blue trinket on Baron. I don't know if they actually see it, but they need to get...
see it, no?
They should be able to see it. They do. They need to get a green ward in so they can deny any blue trinkets in the back of the pit. But now they have complete control over the pink wards. They actually did a good job defending them, and they could actually push in Fnatic right now and rotate for a Baron bait.
Could indeed. The Dragon's going to be up, and that's a mighty
There's another one
enticing thing.
So that's another blue trinket wasted. If Vitality spot this in time, then they can just keep putting those blue trinkets on cooldown, and then Fnatic will struggle with the face check.
Fnatic will still have, again, a very strong team fight. It's both teams. We're in a meta where almost every single comp you draft will have a very strong team fight among these teams here. But it's so much, again, about who gets the proper flank. Because when everything is about teleports and big tanks TPing in behind you, there's such a big difference if he can TP in and actually dash straight to the enemy AD carry and force that AD carry to only hit him. Or if he has to like run head first towards him, you get chunked out, the AD carry can get to hit other targets. That's why this vision is so key around the Baron.
I think we're going to see the bait right now. Dragon's about to spawn, so Fnatic is leaning a bit towards it. The last blue trinket gets used right now, and there's going to be face checks here, but is Vitality in a position to punish? They are, because teleport comes in mid lane.
There it comes, and they are just bailing out Spirit and Klaj now. Running away, but Cabo flashes forward, barrels up. Spirit, however, is going to be able to dash to freedom.
Tried to force the engage here from Cabochard, not realizing that his team couldn't really follow, and the ulti for him missed, didn't manage to knock anyone back, actually completely missed on
I think he was trying
Spirit.
to...
He was trying to get Spirit for sure and knock him back as well.
Maybe predict a dash or a flash on Spirit, hoping he would go into the barrel there. He also did the classic E-flash auto attack ulti instead of, you know...
Our favorite combo from Gragas players. You just gotta get that extra little bit of damage, and therefore people can now flash away from your...
If you want a good example of how horrible that combo is, watch EDG versus RNG, I think, from like this week or 2 weeks ago, where one E-flash at the end of the game with an auto attack actually throws the entire fight. Weaving in that auto, cost them the entire team fight. So kids, just do ER.
And that extended play cost Vitality in the end, 1 tower. Dragon now being pinged out, and Vitality aren't in a position to try and capitalize for the Baron, so this one should go over Fnatic's favor.
And that's the thing, like, Vitality has had control around Baron, and it is a correct play, full vision of it, and you set up that TP play. Problem is, when a TP happens, it's very forced.
They could have waited.
A TP straight in the middle lane against one target, and then the team couldn't even follow properly. You had to dash like body slam flash over. This means that again it kind of slows down Vitality for a few more minutes. 3 dragons now for Fnatic. We are probably in a game that will at least last 15 minutes more. And then suddenly 5 dragons.
Gotta give props to the Klaj. He used Lantern Flash there. Kept the level head, knew that just Lantern wasn't enough to keep his jungler out of harm's way, and he bought enough time.
And this is a bit like going back a few games where Vitality were in that situation where they were setting up Barons as well, and they needed a proper engage to kind of really snowball the game. They went too quick. They forced it a little bit too much, and therefore didn't gain anything. Fnatic bought a lot of time by surviving that first engage. And it's the same now, because Cabochard, look at him on your minimap. He's actually running around the mid lane with the team. So now you have that situation where he's engaging head first. And it's a lot easier to flash out of the way then, or set up a lantern, or
just not get caught.
Just not get caught, obviously. And it's only Nukeduck really applying side lane pressure at the moment.
I think Vitality may actually look to kind of bait Fnatic into believing that they're always going for Baron, and then eventually rotate to that bot tier 2. That could have been a play we see them making. They need more pink wards down right now, though. They have them in their inventory. They need one outside of the Baron pit so they can spot that ward on your left. I think it may be just out of vision. And then they need a green ward in the pit so they see these nasty little blue trinket wards. They spot the ward right now. So they have a bait right now. This is vision advantage Vitality. Can they capitalize?
Rekkles is the one who's got the blue trinket.
Oh, they're doing the corner bait
The other
here.
one's coming back up. Okay.
They're waiting for the 2 blue trinkets to be used, clear them, and then clear them again. And once both are on cooldown, they can actually start the Baron.
They have Sivir Rush too. It entirely changes the dynamic of Baron baiting, because you can let them come pretty close, just pop Sivir ulti and then rush out. They're doing the right thing. Again, push out your wave right here, because if Fnatic call the bluff, suddenly your mid towers are gone. Right now, Vitality in a fantastic position.
Yeah, but Nukeduck's backed out. Fnatic know this has happened, and they can start taking the chance to clear these wards out.
Nukeduck wanted to recall to go catch the wave on bottom side.
Yeah.
Again, this is another thing we have seen where the teleport users from Vitality actually leaving their lanes very early and running to save the teleport. It's a bit of a greedy play, because what ends up happening is once you get to the destination, if you can't make a play instantly, you have to recall and actually go back and catch that wave you just left, because obviously the other teleport member from the other team is going to push it up, and now you just end up losing more time and pressure.
But if you're Vitality and you set up this play and then you don't pull the trigger, why even, you know, bother to do it in the first place if you're not actually going to use that bait to punish Fnatic? Maybe they're just so afraid of Fnatic's teamfight strength at this point in the game and they want more scaling, but they lost so much time on the map because all the resources were devoted to that Baron bait. They set up for literally 4 minutes straight, and then you know what? I think I won bot wave.
I'm going to quote Gene Wilder here. They get nothing. And Fnatic can breathe a sigh of relief. They've got a very, very close gold game here as the baits continue to travel back and forth, but sideways, just absolutely so important, but these guys are just holding onto their teleports. Both teams, it seems like they're anticipating having to fight a pretty epic battle pretty soon.
Yeah, it will be a bit like game 1, where it's a lot about just playing side lanes and pushing minions more than anything. It's very small details, you know, if a team is messing up. If you play it very safe and you don't try and take any risks, you get these kind of games where teams are just kind of shooting waves to each other, and then it ends up in these big, big team fights around Baron.
Scaling is opposite though, because this time Vitality have the better scaling. Game 1, they got outscaled by Fnatic and they weren't using their control well enough. Fnatic do get outscaled in the late game.
It is worth noting how close of a game this is, especially when you consider the first two going so heavily in Fnatic's favor and Vitality just kind of overwhelming and taking that lead over Fnatic in game number 3. Vitality, KaSing trying to go in for another one, but Rekkles quickly answering flash for flash.
I think that was a minion, like we call it a minion taxi, Q flash from KaSing, which is actually a pretty bold move to do. He used W to a minion, then Q flash. Let's talk about that later though. Febi going in.
Oh, he is, and he puts the tomb down on himself. They turn for Hjarnan. Gamsu hooks him in, and Febiven instantly just takes him out. Curtain call now for Vitality as they are on the run. Not getting away from this one. Nukeduck sends the barrels flying, but it's KaSing and Nukeduck that are way too low to fight this one, and it is a one-man advantage for Fnatic.
So at first it's Vitality trying to force the play of KaSing, getting flash for flash, definitely worth it against the Jhin, but then there's another fight happening before this where they're trying to engage. Ulti was used by Cabochard, and then Fnatic
TP though.
Not over yet.
Again.
Straight for Spirit. Oh, he's gotten bopped up twice, and Baron even assists on that one as Cabochard getting the kill. Gamsu now trying to connect back up with his team, but Cabo's not keen to let that one happen. Klaj so low, they bop him. That's a double kill for Cabo, and now Vitality have answered right back.
Yeah, and it all goes back to cooldown usage. When everything is on cooldown, Fnatic is just way weaker. They really utilize their cooldowns well, though. They understand the power of that Jhin Deadly Flourish. Febiven goes in, says tag your it to Hjarnan. Deadly Flourish comes in from over 2,000 range. Right now, Vitality, they lost that initial fight, but then double TP came in. And that was honestly beautiful.
Baron before was very greedy with only one member dying. But Vitality not doing exactly the same. They're pretty low.
Yeah, but they turned for Gamsu. He's going in now, and he's just isolated, trying to stay alive, but he was bopped back, and now Hjarnan picks him up, but instantly they turn it around, and Febiven has a massive ultimate. Shook dancing spider shoes away from that ultimate. Febi going low, but Cabo can't quite finish him off, and Rekkles with the flourish answers with a kill.
And guess what? Fnatic had their spells back off cooldown, and they win a massive fight.
But can we stop just rushing Baron over and over when everyone is low? Fnatic...
Or wait,
they're doing it now because they just killed 2 other guys, and Shook is back in base, KaSing is back in base, so this is a lot safer all of a sudden. But the teams are trying really to force fights around Baron here. Whenever they get a kill, they rush into the Baron to try and force another fight, basically, with a numbers advantage.
And it's too early for Vitality to go for these chase plays. If they had like 3 QSSs available, maybe they can opt in for a Shook.
Shook, he's popped up.
Look at how Fnatic are stopping DPS on Baron. Just saying, as long as Shook is there, don't hit the Baron. Wait for him to use Repel or kill him. Then we can finish off the Baron. So good clean call in the end by Fnatic. But man, this was just fight after fight. Like this is after they engage mid. So it's everything onto Klaj. That fails, and now Febiven goes in. Beautiful engage from Febiven.
Because Hjarnan used Spell Shield himself, but he completely got mind games because Febiven just tagged him with the damage. Spell Shield ran out, Deadly Flourish comes in. Advantage Fnatic, but here, double barrel. Nukeduck's gonna base. Maybe if we get to the other part of this replay here, watch down below on your screen, double TP on the same ward, and then they keep the body slam on the lantern and your spear just gets buffed.
And we have another fight going on the bottom side, potentially a fight setting around this dragon
Screw
here.
The replay.
Yeah, forget the replay. We're in live, and Febiven trying to go in again, but it's Rekkles who gets the kill. Now Febi will fall, and the Gangplank picks one up, but everybody is just going down. Cabochard trying to throw his weight around into this brush, and he finds Gamsu, but they've got another answer, and it's curtains for him. He's taken out. Spirit with the kill. 4 kills for 1. Fnatic on the dragon fight get everything.
Fnatic just, when they can corner Vitality and really get a good tomb buff from Febiven, they annihilate Vitality overall. What a fantastic fight again. And we just have to wonder, how did Vitality get in this position? Probably by giving up so many early dragons, because they likely just forced to defend that dragon way too hard.
Exactly, like again, Vitality were playing a lot more around top side of the map, didn't want to play around this Jhin lane, and then also here, after the Baron recalls from Fnatic, Vitality said, we have to try and rush this dragon soon because we are losing more and more dragons. It's still alive, by the way. It didn't die before. It just ended up being a big team fight.
They didn't need it. They got themselves an inhibitor turret. They'll get themselves an inner right here with Spirit. Fnatic, they won those 2 first games in style. If they can take this one away, the 3-1 victory, they're going to Rotterdam on the back of it.
Definitely so. Semi-final first for Fnatic if they manage to win.
Yep, Spirit. Oh, he's going to get caught right now. Vitality looking for some revenge. As tanky as that Graves can be, it is not enough. And you could see that gold graph a little moment ago going real wonky for Vitality.
But this is actually big. Yeah. Because Spirit, first of all, had absolutely no reason to stay there.
One more wave.
And get caught up. Of course, yeah, you need one more wave. But now this actually gives a dragon for Vitality, meaning they stop the potential 5 dragons from happening as fast as they otherwise would. Wait out the rest to clear out your wave. So this is the fight around dragon itself. Great engage again coming in. Febiven uses offensive ulti and then pops Hourglass himself.
Yeah, but look at where they're fighting here. Febiven, because he uses offensive ulti, it goes bang in the choke point, and you don't want to find a Lissandra comp in the choke point if Jhin is behind the choke point.
Not only just Lissandra, add in a Graves as well. Spirit is just in the face of Hjarnan instantly in these fights here. And this Bruiser Graves, as an AD carry, you can't really duel him properly.
Oh, that build, Maul.
And some more stokes. I mean, he's a tank.
Well, look at how long it took him to take them down with just 4 of them on him. I mean, it was pretty ridiculous. Baron's run out, but that was a pretty solid power play for Fnatic, and they've got themselves 5,000 gold in the lead, a half-dead inhibitor in the mid.
But every fight Vitality have lost so far is them stepping too far forward, allowing Fnatic to kind of blitzkrieg over them. If they keep their distance with the QSS, with the orange from Nukeduck, they can kind of prevent that Tomb from happening and then just kite away backwards, and they should be able to win these fights.
I think some of the calls from Vitality has been a little bit too aggressive, maybe, because they engaged mid lane. We talked about with TP from Cabochard. Very, very unlikely it's gonna work, and let's see what happens here.
Yeah, they pop him right back in. Look at all those shields, but is it gonna be enough here as Cabochard trying to disrupt the backline here, throwing the barrel out. Spirit is actually gonna walk away, and Cabochard's gonna have to dash. And look at those health bars! Oh my lord! Fnatic are coming up huge, and Vitality are gonna go down 33.5 minutes, and that might just be it.
That's it. Fnatic is going to Rotterdam here. 50, 40 seconds to death timers. Only KaSing spawns in 25. Idem's already down. The wave is coming.
Fnatic might have been doubted coming into today, the number 6 seed in the playoffs, but after an incredible showing, 3 out of 4 games, Nexus turrets are all that remain, and these guys will be going. We'll see them in Rotterdam, and I cannot wait. After a game like that, you just gotta hug it out.
Let's go.
Taylor staying back. For now.
Give him a moment.
He can be very proud of his players.
Yeah.
Good pick and bans also coming in from Fnatic. Good adaptations. I like the fact that we
Over music for Dalar.
didn't even get to see Azir in the end.
He was listening to Beats by Dr. Dalar.
You just had to squeeze it in the end.
I was waiting.
All the lyrics are just no hook, no food on repeat.
But yeah,
But
Fnatic, well, they really understood the game here overall. Their team fights were so crisp. But I still feel a lot of what they did well was punishing mistakes that shouldn't happen from Vitality. I mean, that last engage, you're engaging, we're just talking about how strong Spirit is and how much time he can buy. And this was the 3rd time Vitality forced themselves into a choke point, where guess who? Febiven steps in with a massive combo overall.
Team communication was such a big thing for me in this series here. It looked like with Fnatic, they were always ready to punish the small mistakes from Vitality. And like, look at these last few team fights we have here. It's very forced engages coming in from Vitality, TPing in straight in mid lane, rushing in to start the Baron, pop Sivir ult, and then chase one more kill over and over and over. And as a team, Vitality were weaker than Fnatic. We can then talk about individual players here and there. Febiven had a fantastic series, obviously, in the mid lane for himself. And for me, probably the MVP.
You've got to win as a team. And as you said, Fnatic were the better team in 3 out of 4 games. They absolutely punished those mistakes that, I agree, Vitality should not have made. But they did. If you can't perform in the playoffs, you can't perform on a big stage.
And that's a problem now for Vitality. Obviously, again, first time this lineup gets into playoffs here in the spring split. Looked like the best team in Europe, if you look back, or at least challenging H2K and G2 for best team in Europe at moments during the LCS split. Ended up 3rd because they actually dropped a few games, like lost to Rocket again the last week, where they had some very poor team fights. Yeah, exactly.
But if you look at the bracket though, so going into the playoffs, highest seed was G2 eSports. Lowest seed Fnatic, I think. In
number 6, man.
Number 6.
Number
so
6.
Just that means we will get a G2 eSports match against Fnatic. And the strengths actually from G2 so far has been some of these team fights. So I wonder if Fnatic can force their victory the same way. Because is G2 going to make the same mistake?
We got a lot of time to think about that.
They match well against each other. Strong mid laners, of course.
Yeah, I mean, that was just absolutely crazy. But I want to hear from the guys themselves. Let's send it on stage where Pulse is standing by to talk to some of our